we tried to bring the character back, I guess the next year, a year later. Jim Brooks was working with Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince, and he said, let's bring back Leon. He comes back to town, and this time he thinks he's Prince. And we said, yeah, sure.
Please, feel free to express yourselves. In these sessions, we want you to feel relaxed and uninhibited.
This, of course, is our One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest parody.
Mr. Harding, you've stated on more than one occasion that you suspected your wife of seeing other men.
Oh, yes. Yes, very much. I suspect her.
Okay, so I was working in an insurance company, right? Youngest VP in the history of the firm, okay? The job was my life.
Love this run.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's based on,
I can't remember the character's name.
Right, in Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, Cuckoo's Nest.
Right.
The very existence of my life, with or without my wife, in terms of the human relationships, the juxtaposition of one person to another, the form and the content.
Artie, why don't you knock off the bullshit and get to the point?
Then one Monday morning, I got up. I couldn't leave the house. I just couldn't.
Was the door locked?
No, I just couldn't face what was out there.
Was it raining?
I just love this scene.
No, Homer, Dave suffers from agoraphobia, a fear of open areas and crowds. Please, Dave, go on.
Thank you. Anyway, that day I knew I just couldn't make that long drive to work.
Were you out of gas? Baby.
He's the last guy you want in your group, huh?
I'm talking about form. I'm talking about content. I'm talking about interrelationships. I'm talking about God, the devil, hell, heaven. Do you understand? Finally!
Yeah, Artie, you're so fucking dumb, I can't believe it.
Mrs. Simpson, I'm sorry, but your husband suffers from a persecution complex, extreme paranoia, and bladder hostility.
Doctor, if you just talk to him for 5 minutes without mentioning our son Bart, you'd see how sane he is.
You mean there really is a Bart? Good Lord!
Pancakes.
Oh, Mr. Simpson, you've got a visitor.
No! Marge!
Oh, homie!
Drinking through a straw.
Mr. Simpson, after talking to your wife, we believe you're no threat to yourself or others.
That's the most flattering thing anyone has ever said to me. Could I have it in writing, please?
Of course.
Not insane.
I'm proud of you, Homer.
Thanks a lot, Michael. You really helped me get through this.
Another thing about this episode, so we introduced Leon Kompowsky, the big mental patient who thinks he's Michael Jackson, and we tried to bring the character back, I guess the next year. A year later, Jim Brooks was working with Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince, and he said, let's bring back Leon. He comes back to town, and this time he thinks he's Prince. And we said, yeah, sure. And we wrote the episode. Some freelancers came in, wrote, and it was a great show. It was a great story that he comes back, he's acting like Prince. He gets the whole town of Springfield to loosen up, become more flamboyant. Everybody becomes more sexually open, and they're dressing in paisley and that kind of thing. It was a really nice episode. We had some freelance writers write it, and then Conan O'Brien was our new writer, and he did a week-long polish on the script, and then we rewrote it yet again, and we had a beautifully finished script, and we sent it to Prince, and Prince called back, and again, he just sent a sheet of notes. He said, it was just wardrobe notes. I want to wear my gold veil on page 13, and I want to wear the pink satin on page 18, and that kind of thing. And we're looking at the notes, and they didn't correspond to the script we had sent him, and we couldn't understand why, because he wasn't on page 13 or page 18. And what it turns out is somebody had just sent Prince a script in the mail. Just somebody out in America said, hey, why don't we have Prince go to The Simpsons, and had written the whole Simpsons Prince script. And it wasn't at all the script we had sent him. And we said, oh, no, if you like that, you'll love this. And he hated the script that we wrote, that the Simpsons staff had done and Jim Brooks had pitched and Conan O'Brien had rewritten. He hated that one. He wanted to do the one that some schmuck had sent him in the mail, and we read that script, and we said, we don't want to do that. And so we never had Prince on the show, and I think that's one of 3 scripts probably in the history of The Simpsons that we never produced.
Apparently, in the season 29 episode, Mr. Lisa's Opus, they finally found a way to bring this character, Leon Kompowsky, back onto the show. And I haven't actually seen it for myself, but I read a synopsis online. And it turns out this episode is another one of those that takes place in the future. And an adult Lisa is looking back on her past birthdays. And when she turned 14, apparently they brought Kompowsky back into the house to write and sing another verse to the Happy Birthday Lisa song. And I believe they even brought Kip Lennon back for the singing parts. And that's all fine and good, but I continued to read this synopsis, and at some point during this episode, Lisa is in college, and she falls in love with her female roommate. And that's just about as much of that story as I can take, so let's just move on.
If you ever find your marbles, come visit us.
Well, how about today? I'm only here voluntarily.
I'm voluntary here. See, I'm not committed.
As a matter of fact, there are very few men here who are committed. There's Mr. Bromden, Mr. Tabor, some of the Chronics, and you.
You are? Why?
Well, back in 1979, I got real depressed when my Off the Wall album just got one lousy Grammy nomination.
We had read that in a biography of Michael Jackson, that he was upset that it only got one Grammy nomination.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, overlooked middle child.
Oh, this is so sad. Great angle.
Yeah, I don't know if they do stuff anymore like that, like looking down on rooms and kind of twisting down.
We've lost the technology to look down.
Yeah, the looking down and twisting angle.
Too expensive.
Happy birthday to me.
You might have noticed that Maggie has been quite busy in this one, and we've seen plenty of Maggie jokes in previous episodes, but they usually take place in the background while other characters are speaking. But from here on out, she's more like a full-fledged member of the Simpson family, and her jokes seem to get a lot more front and center as time goes on, and her personality becomes more and more apparent.
Joe's taxidermy, you snuff 'em, we stuff 'em.
Boy, when I get home, I'm going to wrap my hands around your neck and smother you with kisses.
Homer, whatever they got you on, cut the dose.
I've used that line several times.
Now listen, I'm bringing Michael Jackson home to stay with us for a few days. Isn't that cute? He's heard of you. Now make sure we have plenty of cold cuts and put some beer on ice.
How does Marge get that hat on top of her hair? That's what I want to know.
She's very flexible.
Homer, I'm a vegetarian and I don't drink.
Are you sure you're here voluntarily?
Yes. Now, Homer, please make sure he doesn't tell anybody I'm coming.
Yes, Dad, I solemnly swear I will not tell another living soul.
That was great. Who thought that up to tweak the phone cord in the middle of that?
That would probably.
I think, yeah, it was just a little business.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what's great,
That's
is they put
great.
the little business in there to give it the...
No, not even Millhouse. Huh? Hello, Millhouse. Can you keep a secret? No. Oh, well, who cares? Michael Jackson is coming to my house. Michael Jackson! Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson?
We're about to see quite a bit of reused animation, and I was pretty sure that it started here with this shot of Otto on the telephone, because it looks a lot like another shot that was used in a previous episode, The War of the Simpsons.
Tell my friends? Alright, but I got some pretty funky friends.
And it's very likely that the background is indeed reused, but if you look very closely at Otto, his posing is slightly different, and his face and hair look very different, so I don't think this shot is technically reused animation.
Aunt Bella! Wait a minute, I got a call on the other line. Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson!
Snake's second appearance comes in the form of his first appearance, reused from the episode The War of the Simpsons.
All right, I get out at noon and I'm already invited to a party.
Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson!
Michael Jackson!
I think you mined every scene of someone on the phone from
We used
every
old footage and then
episode.
did it with video, yeah.
So this shot of Grandpa was taken from the episode Old Money.
I just inherited $106,000, and I just had to tell you that you're not getting one thin dime. Ha ha!
The shot of Barney comes from One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish.
Thanks a lot, Barney. I just wasted my one phone call on your stupid... I'm home! I'm home! Hi, Homer. You gotta help me, Barney. I'm in jail. You are? Hey, Homer, go to the window. Hi, neighbor. I can see you.
The shot of Dr. Hibbert comes from Bart's Dog Gets an F.
Not that I'm angry, but how did you get my home number? I see, quite ingenious.
The shot of Selma comes from Principal Charming.
This Saturday, we're going to Stanley Peterson's wedding.
But this shot of Moe actually comes from an episode that hasn't aired yet, When Flanders Failed.
A left-handed corkscrew? Oh, baby.
And then, of course, we have Mrs. Winfield from Bart's Dog Gets an F.
Yellow.
Simpson, this is Sylvia Winfield. That canine of yours is in my pool again.
And this one that comes from the episode Some Enchanted Evening.
Rubber baby buggy bumper babysitting service.
But unfortunately, I have no idea where this shot in the middle comes from. And if you happen to know which episode it comes from, feel free to put it in the comment section below.
We've just been handed a bulletin from our rockin' rumor department.
That's right. Michael Jackson, the thriller himself, is moonwalking his way right here to our very own Springfield.
And while we go check it out, why don't you enjoy our seldom heard, extra long version of In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida?
I held back this short piece of Mike Reese's commentary from much earlier in the episode, but it was one of the very few times that he was talking about something that actually happened in the story, rather than something completely unrelated or just some gossip about Michael Jackson. But he said it earlier during Act 1 when he was talking about the things that Jackson had contributed to the script, like changing Prince to Elvis. But he does mistakenly mention that this happens in Act 2, but I'm quite certain he meant to say Act 3.
And the only other thing is he pitched a story point that comes up a little later here and it was a very funny idea. I don't know how it missed all of us, where Bart is the one, he finds out that Homer's in a mental hospital with Michael Jackson, and he calls everybody in town, and all the town turns out to see him. I don't know what we would have done in the second act. It was a great story idea, so I appreciate that.
Michael Jackson? Oh, such a thing happens once in a blue moon. Do I dare to leave my post?
Ay, caramba!
It actually was a little like this the day he came to record. There was a huge group of people I've never seen before or since in the room.
I think the only other big group was Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah. Mel Gibson was a pretty big one, too.
This is the most exciting thing to happen to our fair town since the Dalai Lama visited in 1952.
Well, it looks like at least one other member of the Jackson 5 showed up for this.
And so I hereby declare that Route 401, currently known as the Dalai Lama Expressway, will henceforth be known as the Michael Jackson Expressway.
I like that joke. That was I always like a Simpsons joke where it sort of tells you a lot of story in a few words. We can put together the whole story that the Dalai Lama came to Springfield and they were scuttling his name.
Dr. Nick showed up too.
I think I can see him. Oh, here he comes.
And the guy in the pink shirt is the father of the family, who it turns out was just released from a mental hospital.
Thanks, everybody. It's great to be sane.
We want Michael.
Even Mr. Lombardo from Brush with Greatness showed up.
We want Michael. We want Michael.
Here he is. Here's the guy you want to see.
So we see Princess Cashmere over on the right, and of course we knew Dr. Hibbert was coming, but I'm not sure that I ever noticed that they put him in the sweater that he was wearing in Bart's Dog Gets an F, because that's where they got the footage of him on the phone earlier. But the really interesting thing here is, what's the deal with this guy? I mean, this is supposed to be Willie, right? And this is only his second appearance in the entire series. His first appearance was in Principal Charming, and we haven't seen him since. So I suppose it's understandable they got it wrong in this one shot.
We hadn't used quite so many crowd scenes, so it was still kind of difficult to do back then.
This was, early in our crowd scene technology. Developing.
I think, too, we had not perfected the art of just showing the crowd at minimal points to give, the taste of it.
Yeah.
I think the crowd looks a lot better in this episode than it does in something like Dancin' Homer. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they've introduced a lot of new characters since then. But this crowd is still mostly made up of random Season 1 style characters.
Huh?
He's 300 pounds.
He's white.
He's dressed without flair.
What the hell made me think Michael Jackson would even visit this jerkwater bird?
Of course, after later seasons, everybody visits. So.
You owe us Michael Jackson.
There's Willie, looking like he's supposed to. Also, we saw Agnes Skinner for the first time all the way back in the season 1 episode, The Crepes of Wrath. But she was also briefly seen in another crowd sequence in Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, which would make this her 3rd appearance in the series.
Don't ever show your face around here again, you tool.
I like that touch that Quimby has his own helicopter.
Bart, the entire town is howling for your blood, and before I join them, I have one question. Today is my birthday. You promised you'd get me something, and I'm afraid to ask. You know, maybe you should trust that instinct and not ask. I thought so. Oh, Bart, you...
There was one other one that was really funny. It was going to be a Simpsons 30-something crossover where basically Homer meets a bunch of yuppies and he starts hanging around with them and going to their house, and he loves their big screen TV and that kind of thing. And it was really funny. I don't know why we didn't produce it. I know we put David Stern, who wrote the episode, through 4 or 5 drafts, and it never seemed to work. It didn't seem to click for us. So that's a little gem out there. Maybe it's floating around. I think it's a very nice script. There was another episode that was written that, again, we just couldn't get it to work at the time, where Bart went to military school. And I think about 8 years later, they wound up doing the same story independently. But again, we had a funny script of Bart going to military school that was not produced. But otherwise, it's a huge amount of trouble, as you can guess, to do a Simpson script. And that's why we don't throw many out.
Come off! I'm sane now! I'm sane now!
That's spoken like a sane man.
I also like that he's got this huge mental patient roaming around in the house.
Homer doesn't. They've brought a lot of people in there, homeless guys, hobos, prisoners.
Act 3 in this episode is almost 10 minutes long. It's only about 6 seconds shorter than the first act from Blood Feud, so we won't be able to see the rest of the commentary in this video. But if you come back tomorrow, we'll finish this thing up. Thanks for watching.